Blue Apron ticker APRN is down 7.5% today. Now, firstly, why is this stock down and why are we kind of watching it as of today? So, what you probably would have seen is this stock wasn't tradable for the last few days, and the reason for that is it moved from a New York Stock Exchange listing over to the NASDAQ. So, it did delist for a few days to kind of do that exchange. But overall, obviously, the price history and everything is still the same because it's still that same stock. But what are the key levels that we can start paying attention to then on Blue Apron after we've now moved to the NASDAQ? So, firstly, downside potential. 470 is really the only level we're looking at to the downside. What that's going to be is fair value. So, again, normally if we're looking at investing in a stock like this, we normally want to be buying at or below this value. And what you'll be thinking is that is its all-time low 470, so why is its fair value? And that's really just because look at it since IPO, all it's done is really just have a strong downtrend. And what fair value does, what statistical mean does, is price in potential future movements, and it takes into account previous data, which is obviously very strong downtrends. So really, if we're looking to invest in a company like this, again, we want to be getting it below 470. But instead, the way I tend to trade this is when it gets extended to instead just trade it short buy. So that's really what I'm paying attention to, looking for an upside move. 740 first deviation on the 6 month. If we go higher, 915. This is our year-to-date anchored VWAP. We'll cover that in a second though. We also have $10 second deviation from the 6 month and 1050, which is our first deviation from the 1 year. So these are all going to be basically key resistances where if the stock kind of comes back up to these levels, we could look to be shorting them, buying some calls as protection. And again, even though it's moved to the NASDAQ, we still have access to the options. So again, we can short the shares, buy calls to define that risk, because that means we can swing trade it, not just day trade it. Now to quickly cover that in anchored VWAP like we were talking about. So again, we have anchored VWAPs going from basically since it IPO'd and each year that it's basically been trading. Now what we can see is if we zoom in, the year-to-date anchored VWAP, so again that starts from the first week in January, is currently around 915. This been tested a few times this year, tested, failed. So really this is a key one to watch, is if we do come and retest it, can probably look for that third short and see if we can trade that downside opportunity. First target will obviously be around that 750, and if you want to hold it lower, fair value wherever that is.